Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jenna Meyer. I am an Outschool teacher, a little bit of a VIP kid teacher still, and a former classroom teacher. And on this channel you will find all kinds of videos about teaching online, mostly teaching on Outschool and a little bit of homeschooling. I have a homeschooling video coming in the next week or so. I have a preschooler and a 1-year-old, so I'm doing a little pseudo homeschooling with my toddlers. So anyway, so in this video, I wanted to share with you all about how I handle my classroom management in my online classroom. Right now I'm teaching mostly all Outschool classes. I really stopped VIP Kid. My contract was up and I even hemmed and hawed whether or not I was going to continue my contract. I did end up signing my contract because I thought I don't want to go through the interview process all over again in case I need to go back to VIP Kid. But right now Outschool is doing really well for me. I love it and it's really fun and fulfilling for me. So that's what I'm sticking with. And so I wanted to do this video because teaching on Outschool is different than VIP Kid. Outschool, you have multiple students. VIP Kid, you just have one student. So the management is different. It's also different online versus brick and mortar classroom teaching. However, I will say a lot of my same philosophies of teaching and philosophies of education and management of learners is basically the same. You just have to tweak it and the technical stuff is different online. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to tell you, just sharing my experience, what has worked for me, and I hope that it helps you. My first tip for you for classroom management is establish a routine. So in all my classes, I basically have the same structure, like skeleton outline of greeting, song, sharing, activity. I basically keep the same structure within all my classes. I just plug different activities depending on the class. So the second tip for classroom management is have your lesson plan laid out in front of you. Put it somewhere where you can glance at it during class because it's easy to lose track of time. You're managing a lot of different things on the screen, learners, activities. Have your lesson plan in front of you. It helps me just know kind of where I'm going with the lesson and if I need to skip around different activities depending on how the lesson is going. Okay, the third tip I have for you is give learners time to share. I always incorporate like a sharing time at the beginning of class after we've greeted each other, maybe done a welcome song. I do like to give them time to share because they really want to talk and engage with each other. I teach mostly preschoolers, so they're always wanting to talk and share and tell me what they ate for breakfast. And so I usually have like a question or a prompt, like, would you rather eat an apple or an orange? And so everybody gets a time to share, and that's just a nice like icebreaker, and it gives them just a voice. Fourth tip, this is probably like the biggest one, and I've kind of learned how to use it over time, but the mute button. On Outschool, you use Zoom as the platform, and you can mute students, you can mute individual students, you can mute all students. I tend to mute all students when I am speaking or giving a direction or explaining something. I mute all because otherwise there might be background noise or somebody's blurting or just talking to their mom next to them. So I mute all when I'm trying to say something important. I also mute all when I'm playing a song or just doing something important where all the learners need to hear it. If I'm reading a story, I will mute all. So, and then you can unmute all if you're ready to share. So the mute button is your friend. Fifth tip I have for you, give students time to think. This is kind of where that mute button can come in handy. I tend to mute students when I want them to think for themselves instead of somebody blurting out the answer and then taking away thinking time. I usually mute students and give everyone some thinking time, and I will tell them that. Right now I'm going to mute you. I want everybody to turn their thinking caps on and think, and then I'll unmute you and everyone can share. So it just gives kids time to think, and we do that as regular teachers in the classroom too. It's just kind of handy. There's a mute button, so it works really well online. This is the sixth tip. If you don't want students to blurt or talk because you're afraid that somebody's going to take away thinking time for somebody, I tend to do give me a thumbs up if, or thumbs down if. So just a different kind of signal instead of using their voice. Tip number 7 is be flexible. And what did I say here? Be flexible and just ready to adjust on the fly. I think that you need to read your students just like you do in the regular classroom. You need to be ready to adjust adjust just based on their level, based on their engagement level, just based on who they are as a group. I tend to have extra activities that I can go to or tweak or exchange orders. So just be ready to kind of be on your toes a little bit, just like we do in the regular classroom. Tip number 8, brain breaks. I always incorporate a brain break. I teach 4 and 5-year-olds, sometimes 6-year-olds, and they need to move their bodies. So usually about halfway through class, I will put a silly song on or head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and we will do a brain break, and that just breaks up the learning and gets them moving. Number 9, make sure you have a variety of activities. I like to do a lot of songs, finger plays, read alouds, things on Google Slides, games. Make sure that you're mixing up activities so that kids stay engaged. Number 10 is for kids drawing on the screen. I just had this happen to me a lesson or 2 ago where somebody was drawing on the screen when I was trying to draw, and so I needed to just check a box that didn't allow students to draw on the screen. Tip number 11 for management is have everything, activities, materials, lesson plan, have everything at your fingertips so that you are ready to grab the material when you need it. So I have a big long table that I can lay everything out, and I just keep things in order as I need them. So it's really easy for me to grab and go and be ready. Number 12, I'm sure you do this as a teacher as well, but I like to show examples of the work that I expect. So if I want students to draw a picture of a rhyming word with a certain word, I will have that as an example. Either I will show them on the screen or I will screen share with them. So I always want to give them a visual so they can see what is expected. And tip number 13 for management is positive reinforcement. I always try to call on students. I always try to say, "Great job, Charlie," so they can hear their name, they can hear that I'm watching them and seeing their work. So positive reinforcement goes a long way. Number 14, at the beginning of some classes, I don't do this every time, but I sometimes will explain my behavior expectations in an age-appropriate way. So for the preschoolers that I teach, sometimes I'll just do it throughout class. Turn your thinking caps on and turn your voices off so we can give all of our friends time to think. And then just have some ready phrases. I'm sure classroom teachers, you guys do this a lot anyway, but I usually will say like thumb on your knee when you're ready, or thumb on your heart when you're ready to share, or raise your hand when you're ready to share. So just to have those phrases ready and handy will help with management so they know what to expect when you say those things. That is it, you guys. That's 15 ways that I like to manage my online classroom. I hope it's helpful for you. I kind of went through these really quickly. I will say if you would like help getting through the Outschool application process or looking through your classes, I would be happy to help you brainstorm ideas for what you could teach or how to organize your classroom lesson plans. I'd be happy to help you. So my email is down below, my referral link is down below, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!